guys, welcome back into my channel. My name's Meg. For newcomers, I share wisdom and hope through weekly guided meditations for other creative freelancers and solopreneurs. And I've now started recording podcasts too. So this is the third episode and it will be moi, another solo. I wanted to sort of set the stage for this podcast to share a little bit more about myself. So in the first and second episodes, I talked a little bit about running away out of the Silicon Valley and into quitting my job and becoming self-employed. So the part in today's episode that I feel like is really important is, quickly I learned becoming self-employed, and any of you that are out there, I totally root you on and just know that you're not alone. It is clearly one of the hardest things that I've ever done and probably that I will ever do. One thing I know for sure, I do have a pretty high internal performance standard, and by that I mean I was a high-level athlete and All-American at a young age playing volleyball and sort of on display, if you will, and constantly getting feedback and commentary, and not always pleasant. It continued throughout my career and in college, and I think I have a pretty tough set of expectations that I put on myself, but with loving kindness and ultimate compassion through this self-healing journey, I really have dialed that back, and I just appreciate myself so much more. But this was something that I really came to on my own after starting to dive into the murky waters of working for myself as a freelancer. And I did land some clients relatively quickly, but we don't really know what we're doing at first, so it's a little bit overwhelming. I noticed right away that my central nervous system was pretty shot after making some very drastic decisions and physical life changes and moves in my life. I left a city I'd lived in for 15 years. I resigned from a job that I loved sort of on a whim because I knew my higher self was telling me it was time to move on. I traveled and lived in Central America for 4 months after quitting my job, and I worked at this textile cooperative and sort of had an eat, pray, love moment. Then, as I mentioned, I moved out of my studio apartment that I had been in for so long, and I moved to Southern California into my Redondo Beach sanctuary with 3 blocks from the ocean. And as all this was happening, it was rapid fire of life things, in a relationship that didn't work out, that shattered my heart into about 1 million pieces, learning to get to know myself on a new level. And really what that meant was identifying what my self-worth value was. And in this quest, 1 year later, in 2017, I really turned inward to yoga and meditation to heal. I wanted to feel alive and to heal from years and years of everything we as humans accumulate and carry around with us. From mindsets to self-limiting belief patterns to self-sabotage, and walking away from a sport that had defined me after a successful career and historic failed relationships with men who were unavailable, being a bridesmaid in 11 weddings, but not quite the bride yet. Yes, 11, I did say. Always showing up for everyone with a heart of gold, doing what was best for family and friends, and I would do anything for anyone I loved. But the question became, and I urge you to literally write this down or just listen to the words I speak with so much kindness. But was I truly, and are you truly showing up for yourself? So it spawned in me the most unbelievable self-discovery I'd ever imagined. I simplified every single aspect of my life, and from those moments that I had in Africa and traveling in Central America and now in this new physical space I found myself in a purging mode from closets to people who no longer resonated or supported the growth of my newfound self. I found peace in nature. I was present. I opened my eyes to the beautiful person I am and truly accepted what I saw staring at me in the mirror. Pure love. I was enough exactly as I am. And why did it take me so long to believe it? So, like a beautiful tapestry, I was working with clients and I would weave in hours and hours of yin, restorative yoga, meditation, breath work, chanting classes, fostering a new community at my local yoga studio, meeting friends on a similar path. I spent more time alone than I ever have. And I trusted the path would continue to unfold. I completely adopted a yogic lifestyle, like I mentioned, steeped in daily rituals of mindfulness and a really dedicated physical practice to strengthen my inner landscape. And then I went to Bali for my 200-hour mindful vinyasa teacher training. And ever since, I've continued to work on this inner landscape. I studied different practices, and like all the facets of myself, I really soaked in the yoga and meditation like a drug, like heavily. I couldn't get enough. I would sometimes hit up multiple classes a day. I found amazing teachers and gurus, soaking up books and workshops. I even flew to Sedona to watch Joe Dispenza's one-day seminar. Some of the best money I've ever spent. I was a hermit. I was obsessed with neuroscience and how our thoughts become our reality. I'd never spent more time on my own, but it was so needed, and not to mention so overdue. And it was the perfect complement to this entrepreneurial lifestyle involving a lot of travel and ups and downs, the uncertainty and excitement, the whole wheel of emotions. And slowly and steadily, I sensed strength and change. I felt a peace within myself that I'd never felt. And I knew my life's work was somehow tied to it, or at least a part of it. Sharing my light with others to guide them to a life of self-love and finding and digging down that light within your self-worth that you already have, because you're simply perfect just as you are. So I see yoga and that whole community of healing truly as an a la carte package that we can customize to fit our own needs. So for me, I turn to sometimes going to acupuncture. I became a huge fan of cryotherapy, which eliminates toxins and inflammation in your joints. It also provides really great strengthening and tightening of your skin. It's really great for your face to bring a youthful glow, and it gives you more energy, not to mention the benefit of sleep. I also just loved practicing an array of different kinds of yoga, and I really encourage anyone that's never tried yoga to really open up to the idea that there is a type out there for you. It's not necessarily going through a traditional vinyasa flow. I mean, some of the most restoring classes, you're only in 4 poses for 20 minutes each, and it's really soothing, and it helps us to calm down our central nervous system. So feel free to drop me a message if you would like any information or maybe a recommendation on what kind of practice might be good for you. But I just felt like I was really married to this whole lifestyle because it made me feel so good, and I was drinking, warm beverages and ginger and turmeric teas and a lot of cinnamon. Again, I have a lot of inflammation in my joints from my career, and I'd had a lot of surgeries. So to me, I have to take a really good care of my vessel. And again, I just never had felt stronger or more aligned with myself as I did when I was on the mat. And this yogic lifestyle just really fueled me in ways that I never imagined it could. And it's just a reminder to us all that we walk down these paths in our life, and if we're open to the light and to the opportunities and to the curiosity that we pique of going down a road that we may never intentionally have, or maybe not by choice, or maybe intentionally, that things will come out of it that will surprise us. And that is definitely what yoga and meditation has been for me. Now, switching gears, I will tell you, I spent so much time in a physical studio with my mentors, with a loving community. It was just such a wonderful, comforting, nurturing environment to really do the work, both physically and mentally, emotionally, just the whole mind, body, spirit carnival. I mean, it was just such an amazing group of people. But when the pandemic hit, it was really hard and so discouraging to just consistently get on my mat by myself. And yes, once people started uploading and live streaming and doing everything on demand and online, it was easier to still attend certain classes, but my studio was closed and many of my teachers lost access to that platform that they were on, and it was really heartbreaking. And I will tell you, I'm still sort of rebuilding my own practice, and this again is a very good indicator of just resilience in life. Today, I sit in a place where I feel proud if I get on my mat in the morning for 15 minutes to meditate. Sitting has been a little more challenging for me, I think because I swim a lot and my hips are sore, and just because I haven't been practicing as much yoga. So I'm trying to slowly tiptoe back into it, because like any workout regime, when you haven't kept up the same pace, it's like lifting weights. If you all of a sudden stop doing as many reps, you can't do the same amount or lift as much. So I'm trying to navigate the new waters of my yoga practice and continue going with the flow of my own life. And last night I did a yin class, and I will continue to do as many yin and restorative classes as possible, because those are really winners for my DNA and actually my central nervous system. I sleep so much better. I get lost in the time, and I am really blessed. If anybody is looking for a great option that's online, yogaworks.com has live and on demand with, I think, up to 60 classes an hour. No, this is not sponsored, but they do have a myriad of offerings, and you can log on at any time and find a class, and it's $39 a month, I believe. So keep that in mind. Anyway, this podcast I wanted to dedicate to yoga, and what I want to leave you with is one really memorable experience that completely changed the fabric of who I am and how I live my life. It was my trip to Bali. I spent 30 days in Ubud, and I literally arrived at my teacher training feeling weighted down and stressed and worried, and I left feeling completely light and free. And I put a lot of work in, and I met some of the most soulful people, and Bali is pure magic. And I can't stress enough that this whole culture of yoga and meditation has nothing to do with what tights you're wearing or what you're wearing or what you aren't wearing. It's about the relationship that you have with yourself. It is about the way you talk to yourself, how you believe in yourself, the mirror that you find in your life as you interact with other people, and are you really bringing yourself into the world? And again, I am here to share more of my authentic light, to also encourage you all to do the same. So I hope that I can continue to share, and I will definitely be bringing a guest on soon. But in the meantime, in this rainy California weather, I will sign off. And as always, feel free to share this, to like, subscribe, drop me a comment. I love hearing from you guys. I really, really appreciate all your support, and I am excited and always present as I build a really wonderful, soulful group. And thank you so much for being a part of it. I'll see you soon. Stay tuned. Bye.